Order, order. Hello and welcome to Reporters Without Orders, a podcast where we talk about what made news, what didn't, and some things that absolutely shouldn't have. I'm your host, Tanishka Sodhi, and we're joined virtually by two reporters today. Our first guest is Pranab Mondal. He's a senior journalist who is currently freelancing and has been bringing exclusive reports to Newslaundry on the Kolkata rape and murder case. Our second guest is Aliza Noor, a senior correspondent with the Quint. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, hi.
This is a grim topic, but you guys have done fantastic reports on the same. So both the reports we're going to be discussing today are focused on different aspects of the Kolkata doctor rape and murder case. As of today, August 22nd, the AIIMS resident doctors have called off their 11-day strike after intervention by the Supreme Court. The court has ordered the formation of a 10-member national task force to monitor the safety of doctors in India. Has the protest in Kolkata also been called off, Pranab?
No, this is still it is going on.
Okay.
Now the focus has been shifted from the exemplary punishment of the accused to the former principal of the college, and the protesters are raising their voice against his alleged malpractices, his nepotism,
Right.
Against a slew of alleged irregularities.
Right.
So yesterday, the government also removed him from the post where he was earlier transferred, which is the principal of National Medical College.
Right.
So surprisingly, the government has given him a posting as OSD in the State Health Department. That surprised many of us, because the government should have suspended him or something to quell the anger among the protesters.
Definitely. So Pranab has been doing several reports for us, and the story I'd like to focus on today is the report titled "The Power and Peril of Dr. Sandeep Ghosh, from reserve teen to principal who ran Kolkata College as 5DIM." And of course, would also like to speak to you about the report you did about the post-mortem and what it actually says, which really put to rest a lot of misinformation. Aliza's report that we'll be discussing today focuses on a worrying aspect of this case. It is titled "Kolkata Rape and Murder Searches for Victims Video Trend on Google Porn Sites." So the name of the doctor has been trending on porn sites, which is a phenomena that has happened in India several times after a rape case like this gains national importance. It is obviously a very worrying phenomena, and Aliza's story has data to back this claim. So we'll be discussing this in detail. Pranab, I'd like to start with you. The spotlight turned to Sandeep Ghosh, who was the principal of the R.G. Kar Medical College and Hospital where the incident happened. Can you tell us about him and his controversial past?
Actually, he started coming to the limelight before 2021, when he was a deputy superintendent of National Medical College and Hospital.
Okay.
For his close proximity, certain figures of the ruling party. So in Calcutta, there are multiple lobbies in the medical field, especially among the doctors. Presently, the North Bengal lobby is dominating the doctors' fraternity in Calcutta. Okay, and this Sandeep Ghosh belongs to that particular lobby. Okay, his Dr. Shantanu Sen, who was TMC's Rajya Sabha member, was from his anti-lobby. Okay, but the party removed Shantanu Sen from the post of its one of the spokespersons very recently during this outcry. Then this Sandeep Ghosh is a very powerful. Then when he elevated to the post of the principal of R.G. Kar Medical, R.G. Kar is one of the prominent medical colleges in Bengal. From then, the allegations against him started pouring in. Okay, started coming out. The former deputy superintendent, Akhtar Ali, he made very serious allegations against him.
Okay.
And day before yesterday, he lodged an official complaint with police accusing Dr. Ghosh of misusing dead bodies, which is a very serious complaint. He mentioned in his complaint that, giving an example, that the ENT department requested Dr. Ghosh to give 6 fresh dead bodies for its workshop. Then the Ghosh promptly granted 5 fresh dead bodies to the ENT department.
Oh, wow.
After the workshop, the bodies were sent for post-mortem. This is a very big violation. Before sending post-mortem, a body cannot be used for workshop. Cannot. If the person is a victim of murder, then if the person, if the body if the person is a victim of any foul play, then it cannot. But this thing was reported to the higher authorities. An inquiry committee was formed, but nothing
When
happened
was
in
this?
reality.
What year was this?
It was last year.
Okay.
And last year also, this deputy superintendent complained to State Vigilance Commission, to the Chief Minister's office, to the State Health Department. Nothing happened. Instead, he was transferred to a district hospital. So this Sanjay Ghosh lobby is very strong. He is very powerful. That if you go through the sequel of events immediately after the rape and murder incident came to light, you see, first he resigned. Within 3 years, he was reappointed as a
To another hospital, yeah.
principal of another hospital. The government should have either refused his resignation or accepted his resignation. Why? There is no point that giving him, when the government is in that there is a large scale protest against this particular person, against this particular and serious allegation leveled against him. Then he was given a good posting in a Calcutta hospital.
Yeah.
Then ultimately facing this massive agitation, yesterday he was removed from that post also. But he was given a post of OSD in the State Health Department. This is very surprising.
Yeah. And this really fueled the protest, no? The fact that he was...
Exactly, fueled the government formed a 15-member special investigation team to conduct probe into this alleged irregularities under the supervision of this guy. It's headed by 4 IPS officers. Okay. And it will definitely send notice to Ghosh. Okay. But the opposition party is saying that this is a mere eyewash. Nothing is. This is to hoodwink common people. Because they will send notice to Ghosh. Ghosh will come. And they are alleging that they will want to know what is going on in CBI office, what he is being asked. So basically, the opposition parties like BJP saying that this formation of this SIT is a mere eyewash. Nothing.
Okay. What does the SIT say?
SIT says that saying that prima facie there is that Dr. Ghosh allowed 3 companies to take part in the e-tender process despite they didn't have the eligibility to take part in the e-tender process.
And is there so much anger against him also because students who are protesting, doctors who are protesting suspect that he has something to do with the rape murder case or he was involved in covering it up?
This is a culmination of his entire thing, of his misrule,
right,
poor governance, his nepotism. Okay. As an administrator, he's very, very poor reputation. This is a culmination of everything. And
also, sorry for butting it, but Pranab sir, I think there's also, with this doctor, there's also, I think, reports of a lot of students being shunned from the college or being transferred elsewhere. Is that true? With this?
Yes. He did it. While giving a house staff shift, there is a huge malpractice. Okay. Students of his choice, they used to get internship or house staff shift. Okay.
Yeah.
Even this Dr. Santanu Sen, his daughter studies in Arjikar. Citing an example, he is saying that on the previous day of Saraswati Puja, I saw my daughter was leaving home with beautiful makeup and well dressed. Then I asked her, "Where are you going?" My daughter saying that I will have to decorate the puja pandal. Okay. Then within half an hour, she returned home and she was sobbing. I asked what happened. I was not allowed because everything was manned by this Dr. Ghosh's choice of students. I was not allowed. This type of things, Dr. Ghosh, definitely he's a very, very not at all a good administrator.
Yeah. And why was the new principal also suspended just, I think, 2 days ago?
Because they are part of the
same lobby.
The whole nexus.
Exactly.
So has someone new been appointed, or is the position empty as of now?
Definitely there will be appointment, but it is directly now under supervision of the health secretary, Narayan Sarup.
And what is the atmosphere like on ground right now? You've been covering this ever since the news broke 2 weeks ago. How has it changed, or is the anger still as much as it was in the start?
Now anger is against Ghosh, Dr. Ghosh.
Okay.
Because students realize that the victim will get justice. Okay. And every day there's very, very heart-touching moments are taking place at the campus of Arjikar Hospital. 80-year-old doctors who once studied in the hospital, in this medical college, they are coming, they are joining the protesters. They are giving their opinions.
Right.
Okay. They are not spreading rumors at all. They are very serious. They are very worried, concerned about this Dr. Ghosh's poor administrative skills.
Right. You mentioned rumors, which brings me to your previous story that you had done, a very important one, which went into what the post-mortem said. I think it was an exclusive story, and it debunked a lot of misinformation that was going around. And I think a lot of people, students, doctors, even journalists had bought into. Can you tell us about this and why it took so long for this information to emerge?
Actually, post-mortem was conducted on that day evening, okay, on the day of the incident, okay. But this final report takes 3-4 days to come out, okay. Autopsy surgeon gives preliminary opinion, okay. This is a case of, but the writing opinion that comes, that takes 2-3 days, okay. Then, since there's a huge controversy, I contacted my sources. I was in touch with them. Finally, I managed to convince one of them, but he did not hand over a photocopy of the report to me. He just said that, please come, I will place the report.
Okay.
You take down the all relevant portions.
Right.
And then I saw the report. The first thing I did, I took down the postmortem number. Okay, that is very important as a journalist for me, because in future, if anyone challenge me, I will refer please check this number of postmortem report. So I took down the every details, like the vital organs were separated, like lungs, liver, and weight of each and every organ was mentioned there, since it is a very sensitive case. So from there, I found the external and internal genitalia. Okay, and it is written there that white viscid liquid inside. Okay, weight 151 gram. Since I have been covering crimes since past 20 years, so I understood what the weight refers to. Okay, and for double check, I asked the officer, is it the weight of the portion of a private part that was collected from the body? Below, yes. Then I thought that this will be a nice piece of information to eliminate the rumors, whatever is spreading. And they're categorically written that fracture and dislocation. There is a clause, fracture and dislocation, where the autopsy surgeon wrote nil. Okay. And this autopsy was conducted in presence of many witnesses. One lady doctor from AIMS, Kallani, she was present there. Another 2 doctors,
right.
Everyone present there. And the cause of death, it was clearly mentioned, manual strangulation associated by smothering, forcible insertion, and slash penetration inside her private parts. Is clearly mentioned.
Right. There's a section of the report, I think it was about the bones, that you also informed the family they did not know. So did they also believe some of the rumors that were floating around?
Yeah, they strongly believe. See, what happened, everyone is talking about that the family was made to sit for 3 hours. They were not allowed to see the body.
Yeah.
What happened in ground reality, when the family arrived, before that time, the forensic guys entered the crime scene. And as the forensic guys entered the crime scene, the room was completely sealed. No one was allowed to enter. Okay. They were collecting every piece of evidence, possible evidences. Okay. and the family was not allowed to sit on a bench outside the room. They were made to sit inside the office chamber of the HOT. Okay. And they are told, please, you will have to wait because forensic guys are collecting
They were
evidence.
also
This is
earlier
why.
told it was a suicide, right?
Yes, that was
Initially, it
very
was sort of
that
floated
was a
around. Yeah.
very bad mistake. I don't know. Initially, the parents were told that your daughter is not feeling well. Please come fast. Okay, that I can understand that, realizing how the family will react. On many occasions, police inform a dead person's family that your XYZ is not well. Please come. Once they come, they give the truth. Okay, because narrative, telling someone over phone that your son or your daughter is dead, that I can understand. But why did a hospital guy told the parents that your daughter committed suicide? This is a very gross negligence. This is a serious offense.
Right.
Offense in terms of it shouldn't have been done.
Right. And I think TMC's reaction in this case has been criticized a lot. The MPs have also blocked people on social media who are asking them questions.
Yeah.
There have been several such instances, moves they have made, such as I think she took out a march also, a protest, and there were many questions, who is the protest against? And what would you say about the handling of this, and why have they made so many mistakes? I mean, you would assume they would know how to manage, even if it is just for PR.
TMC guys, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Even TMC MLAs and TMC ministers, they also made some very responsible comments. They passed very responsible comments that they warned the junior doctors that if public anger is growing up, if you go to a place with your boyfriend, you might be crowd.
Yeah, and they also took out the guidelines, no, which was essentially just positioning themselves as that they're putting the focus on the woman. Yahan na jao, ye mat karo, instead of actually nipping it in the bud or taking the problem and asking and just talking about the fact that workplace situation में safety क्यों नहीं है, या फिर the focus should be more on the problem and the culture and like how it is being supported by different state apparatus, but you focused it on, I mean, you sort of directed all the guidelines at the women, that you don't go out, you don't take up the night duties per se. So that is to just victim shame.
It was also said, why did he go to the seminar room alone at this late hours? Then the question arises, there is a retiring room for male doctors with 2 beds. Okay, there is no retiring room for lady doctors, no retiring room, and this victim was performing duty for 36 hours. For a human being, she needs a nap. She needs to rest. Where she will go?
Yeah.
In such a government facility, there should be a place where lady doctors can take rest.
Yeah, because also I feel the conversation sort of shifted towards it just being a doctor's issue. It is not just a doctor's issue; it's also a woman's issue. That this
women's issue, exactly.
To her, not because she's a woman, but not because she's a doctor, but because she's a woman. It's about her safety in the workplace.
Yeah, and
that focus was sort of taken away.
Definitely. That's why it's also really shaken people, because when a woman is at her workplace, the fact that this is happening, it is where, like the doctors I met for the story, a lot of them said that we spend more time in the hospital than in our homes. This is where we felt safest, where parents didn't have to worry nothing. So, and of course, these cases happen all the time. It really, I mean, very sad state of affairs. And Pranab sir, you have been in Kolkata, you've been reporting for more than 2 decades. Has this been one of the biggest agitations, biggest mass movements that you have seen? Yes, in the recent past, long back, there was an incident, you guys can recall. Dhananjay was the accused, a security guard of a high-rise building, who raped and murdered a teenage girl, living in the same hospital building. He was hanged. His execution took place in 2004. But during that time, there was a huge protest that he should be hanged. That was the case investigated by Calcutta Police's detective department. They made completely watertight case. And the charge sheet was so strong that Supreme Court could not deny the contents mentioned in the charge sheet. That time DNA matching facility was not easily available.
So only blood sample matching reports was there. The
Hmm.
the shirt button recovered from the victim's hands that was matched with the culprit's shirt's other buttons. These were the
Yeah,
evidences. Okay,
yeah,
that was a very large scale protest, but not with this magnitude.
yeah.
It is natural that social presence of social media was not there that
Yeah.
time.
Sure. Aliza, coming to your story, which is
Hmm.
titled Kolkata Rape and Murder Searches for Victims Video Trend on Google Porn Sites. Your story details about how her name was followed by RAP video and RAP photo, which
Hmm.
presumably stands for rape. It saw a
Yeah.
surge of 160 to 190% increase in terms of
Hmm.
Google search as of August 20th. Can you tell us a little more about this?
Yeah. So, firstly, there's a caveat also there, because what
Yeah,
happens is, if you even go on Google Trends right now and you search her name and followed by, say, rape video or photo, there will be an upward and downward trend.
right.
Like, the reason why I mentioned 2 p.m. on 20th August was because of this, because it's sort of the algorithm feeds on it real-time data.
Yeah,
Right. So the searches will go up and down. When you see 100 on at any given point of time or in a specific region, that means that that keyword or that search word has reached its peak popularity. But even if it is at a zero, that doesn't mean that it wasn't searched. It just means that the algorithm doesn't have like
right.
quantifiable data to include it in their database. But yeah, I think part of the reason, when I remember I was working on another story and I came across a post which sort
Yeah.
of talked about the possibility of her name being on a porn site. And immediately that also sort of struck me that the accused in the case, he is being said to have a very disturbing addiction to porn. So I don't know if there's a correlation there, per se, but I remember this being a pattern before. It happened in 2018 in Kathua case with Asifa.
Right.
Her name also became a trending keyword on the same porn site, by the way. And then in 2019, when the Hyderabad case happened, the same pattern again emerged, and there was a whole petition which talked about, which demanded the video to be taken down.
Yeah.
So it has become a pattern, but I also feel with this case, when I was digging into I was digging into the searches and the keywords, I realized that it is a lot to do with the fact that the rape culture or the rape itself, it doesn't end with the final act of rape itself. It is also very deeply entrenched in our society, online and offline culture, which continues to sustain it. Even after the person has passed away, there is this whole online machinery and culture that continues to reinforce it again and again. And one problem I think is that, even with this case has got a lot of national attention, right? There are a lot of political undertones, and there is like the opposition is involved, BJP is involved. So of course there's a lot of attention to it. But what is the downside of it is that since the case was reported, since 9th August, what we've seen is that her images, her photos, and very personal, very like even how Pranab sir pointed out in the post-mortem report. That came out later, but even initially, her photos, very graphic details of the nature of her rape were circulating online,
Yeah.
and they were viral. Right. So when as a user, I feel for the public, when as a user, you keep consuming it daily, and it has also become viral. On one hand, it's become viral, but you're also consuming all very sensitive data. It's become social media posts. It's become templates on Instagram where people are just circulating it. Then you also become sort of numb and desensitized to a point
Yeah.
where you just feel that you might as well also search it elsewhere. Might as well also search for a video. Might as well also see it if it's available here. वो तो public domain में है ही.
Yeah.
So वो एक line we've blurred. Like that
Yeah.
morality and that line also we've blurred. के देख ही लेते हैं. I know it sounds very morbid, and people don't realize it. But even when I think I had a knot in my throat when I was searching for a name on that porn site, because I was just hoping that her video isn't there. That there is no such video. And all I could see was that there were more than 3,000 searches. So again, this is like a whole online, there's a culture which sort of sustains it and keeps it in place, that it is, even after, I feel, when you keep searching for a video of a photo, it's a very sensitive case. Now it's become a very high profile case. But for us journalists, for you, for me, for Pranab sir, we will probably move on to another case. We'll take up another case which may have similar harrowing details or something. But the family itself, they are going to remember it forever. I mean, they have to live with it. They're always going to remember that even after their daughter was faced with such a heinous crime, such details were out there. Her name and her video was being searched, and to such an extent. So hers is, again, it's not the first or the last case that has happened, but it has become a pattern where people do constantly search for their video and for their images. And in fact, even in this case, even if you go on Google Trends right now and you search for her name, if you select the image option, you'll still see that her image was searched. Then there's a YouTube option which shows that at different points in time, the video was also searched on YouTube. So I think the scale of the search goes up and down, but it is still one of the popular key terms and keywords on Google right now. And it's very difficult to regulate it, I mean, how do you regulate it? Whom do you take it to? How do you ask for anything to be taken down? How do you ask people to not to circulate the photos or videos? And part of the responsibility, I think the onus lies on the media itself today, on how we've reported on it. From the get-go, we shouldn't have used her photos. We shouldn't have used certain, very, very graphic details of a crime, which should have been confidential.
Right, there were headlines in several media organizations.
Yeah. And the kind of outrage I have seen on social media, I think after a point, it's just like hang the rapist. Calling for the death penalty.
Yeah.
It also takes away, it's not just about morality, it also takes away empathy. How do you perceive it? It becomes like another aspect to it is, I feel, a lot of the outrage is to do with the identity of the victim, with the social positioning of the victim. Say in this case, it's a doctor. So of course there's a lot of outrage, and people, लोग ऐसा सोचने लगते हैं कि अरे डॉक्टर के साथ भी हो गया है, तो मतलब डॉक्टर के साथ भी हो गया हमारे साथ, not knowing the fact कि this has happened before, and it's not a new phenomena or anything, but the fact that if it happens to a Muslim or a Dalit, you don't see a similar outrage, right?
Yeah.
Now the problem isn't that you're outraging about this case alone, or there is so much of national interest that people are searching for her case history or about her video online, but also why isn't there the same kind of outrage or demand for accountability in other cases? Because in other cases, what happens is there is a lack of outrage, but also it is a little twofold. Say if it's a Muslim victim, in the case of Asifa, the target is twofold, because it's not just ठीक है woman के एक औरत के साथ हुआ है जैसे इसमें, people will target the doctor, that why was she there at night, why was she in the seminar hall. But also when it is a person from a marginalized community, you see it from a very, like, revenge is seen as a political weapon. It's seen as a tool, कि सही हुआ जो हुआ उसके साथ. I mean, especially if it's a child, then there are also pedophiles who are searching for such content online. And with Asifa, I remember in 2018 when a case came out, there were people who were not just trolling her, or also there was a section that was outraging, but there was also a section which was sort of justifying it. But there are also attacks which have a very, very strong anti-Muslim undertone to it, right? कि Muslim है, मैं भी होऊंगा तो कर देता, मतलब थोड़ा उस टाइप के comments भी होता है. I still remember them. So I feel a lot of it is to do with the online culture that we now have, that it's nearly impossible to even put a check on it, because in all of these three cases, this Kolkata doctor, Asifa, and Hyderabad, the porn site was the same. It is the same porn site, and even with Google searches, even in the past, it will keep on. It's an upward trend. I mean, अभी अगली बार कोई केस होगा तो आप फिर से देखोगे कि उसका नाम फिर से ऐसी सर्च हुआ था
In
with
fact,
different
I hope the
keywords.
reporting of this phenomena does not lead to people actually realizing, oh, we could do this, we could search for this. I mean,
even I was a little iffy about the fact when I searched for her. I think I said this to my editor also, that if her video, if there is any kind of video that is on that porn site, then we should not name the site, because then people will go and they will search for the video.
Yeah.
But since there was no video, and because I realized that it is also, you can't see it in isolation, because this particular website is the commonality in all of the three cases. So we thought it was fair to mention it as
Right.
well.
And like you said, this is the third time it has happened that you have taken note of on the same site. Has there, I mean, is there any way to monitor it? Can there be any accountability for from the site as to what can be searched? Can there be some bodies set up to really regulate something like this? I mean, has this phenomena even really been noted prominently?
No, I don't think. I think even for the fact, like, I mean, to reach to that point
Yeah.
where you know talk about regulating it, उससे पहले तो इसका discourse होना, इस पे report होना, to be able to get it to the authorities taking cognizance of it, वही अभी उस stage तक नहीं आया है, let alone you know getting into a whole regulatory process. But I think it's also very difficult to regulate it because anyone would know. Google Trends ultimately what it does, it's a database.
Yeah.
तो वो तो they are not
Of course.
the platform that is at fault here, you know. वो तो
Yeah.
आपको बस डेटा देख के बता रहे हैं कि क्या कीवर्ड पॉपुलर है क्या नहीं. And again with the porn side, I'm not really sure उसका regulation कैसे होगा, but I don't think you can really because now the fact is कि the doctor's video is not on the platform. Even the Hyderabad victims video was pulled down, so it's not there anymore. So unless and until there is another video, I know that there'll be another change.org petition that will float around and circulate for it to be taken down, because it's very difficult for any common citizen to reach out to a porn site and ask for कि क्या regulations है, because nobody knows कि exactly किस country से function कर रहे हैं, उनके अलग set of regulations हैं. I don't think there'll be a point of contact person also to be able to contact them.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's very different. So I think even before reaching to a point where we talk about policy, we need to talk about the whole culture. Okay, online culture कैसे है, which is sort of because आप दो तीन लोग को बोलोगे, but there will be people जो इंटरनेट पे जाके सर्च करेंगे, because even if you go and see on Google Trends, the maximum number of searches have happened at night, most of them. So it cannot be a coincidence also that just because there are people who are so interested in knowing more about the case, because if that was alone the factor, then why is it only at night? Why are people only searching for her video and her images at night? तो एक वो factor भी है, I feel. I mean, it's very morbid. How do you explain the correlation also?
Yeah.
But even when I was doing it, I was trying to find a direct link between. Is it that if one person excessively consumes porn on one hand, to the fact that they can be very aggressive, and it has a direct link to how, whether they're rape apologist or whether they are a potential rapist, so to say. I mean, I know that there are psychologists who have said that there is a direct link. उनके behavioral pattern पे, how they view women is deeply impacted by it. But again, I don't think there is a lot of quantified research
Right.
to say
This
that
has not been
there is a direct
studied
link.
enough. Yeah. And I think you brought out an important point. I mean, we do speak about how the rape culture has contributed to such heinous crimes happening, but you have also brought out the point of the rape culture after a crime has happened, right? Which I think is also an important nuance to focus on. And on social media, there's also, of course, been accounts with her name popping up. There have been comments on her photos that have been, I mean, I get dark humor, but I think there is a line that is constantly crossed in indulging in such things. And your report also mentioned that searches of her caste were also there on Google Trends. Was this a large increase? Is there any details about that?
I don't have a lot of details, but I think I do remember that this has happened in another case in the past with another victim. I'm not able to recall the name. I think it was Hathras में तो लोगों को पता था, but there have been cases in the past where people have separately gone and searched for her caste too. Because I think in this doctor's case, when the information came out, I mean, because the details were just out there from the starting, right? And people knew her name. So people just searched for her surname. And I remember I even wrote in my report that she belongs to a certain group which is considered, which is included in the OBC community in West Bengal. And then we were also a little confused and a little confused because whether we should mention it or not, because that will also give away if people get to know about her name and caste. So we also removed that bit. But I don't know what exactly a person's intention is when they are searching for the caste. Because if it is at a short scale also, then one might assume कि ठीक है, interest की बात है, maybe it's something to verify or cross check. But if it is happening at a bigger scale,
Yeah.
because in our report we've mentioned that it also saw a plus 100% increase, the caste, the people that were searching for her caste. So I think again it is a lot of some of the people I know even on social media who shared about her case. They did try to shift the focus on the doctor coming from a marginalized community, coming from an OBC community. So they did speak about, her being from so and so community, so we also need to talk about this angle. But again, like I said before, this case was made up to be, I think the medical community also, they made the case to be a doctor's case, a doctor's issue, rather than it also being a woman's issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no harm in also looking at it from a caste angle. I think it's also important if it has played a major role in the crime, in the nature of the crime itself. Um, but yeah, I mean, it has become a trend that after a rape case happens, if the people have got to know the person's name, they do search about the caste.
Yeah. And I think this time also her name has been used so much, her photo has been shared, not just by people on the internet, but also a lot of journalists I know. I'm not sure how
Yeah.
journalists have not been aware that it is not
Hmm.
allowed by law to really share the name, share the photo. I get the sentiment behind it should not be just a Nirbhaya part 2, but as we can clearly see, there are brutal consequences to when the name and when the photo starts becoming
Yeah.
public and being shared. I think this could be one such consequence, the
Yeah.
trend that you have
Another
documented.
consequence, because that reminds me, when I was, because I was aware that a photo is already public. So one possibility that can happen is that, even if you don't have a recorded video of the crime itself, people can easily make a deep fake now.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
So they can easily deep fake into another porn video and then circulate it online, because it's so easily that one photo of hers is so easily available online that when people can make up Instagram accounts, a deepfake video is not very difficult to make today. तो वो तो भैया आप आसानी से, it can, and then there is this possibility of that getting viral. Now imagine for any user who is just consuming the details of the crime, they'll doom scroll and they'll see कि अच्छा ये हुआ and they'll share it. But for the family, for them to even come across, say, a video like that, where people might not be able to differentiate between it being a deepfake or not, then that's more harmful. And I don't understand, because even I remember um DMing a few people that don't share these photos, and I understand what your outrage is and your sentiment is, because their point is that if it helps talking about the issue, then might as well. Okay, but how do I also tell them that the power to sort of set that precedent or is on the media, that this is wrong, you shouldn't upload. The media itself is showing her photos, and they are circulating her names and the graphic details of a case. Then sort of it's a ripple effect, right? You cannot, the line is blurred. You don't know if it's right or wrong. It's for you, it's just that you're talking about the case. You're amplifying voices.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I'd like to come to the last segment of our podcast, which is recommendations. If you can recommend something for our listeners and viewers to watch, read, listen to, it doesn't have to be just a journalistic report. It could be just about anything. Aliza, what would you like to recommend?
मेरे पास एक थोड़ा लाइट रिकमेंडेशन है और एक थोड़ा सा हैवी.
दोनों
Both
दे
will
दो.
work, no?
Yes, yes.
So one is this book I'm reading, which is Bhima Koregaon's Challenging Caste by Ajaz Ashraf. So I think this has been very insightful. I've not even reached like halfway through, but it's not just to do with the current Bhima Koregaon case, which is, sub judice, but also the prior movements and a lot of personalities and how they contribute to the Bhima Koregaon event that happened, and looking at it from a caste angle. So very, very interesting. And the second is, last night I watched it with my parents, so I think people will like it. Angry Young Men is on Amazon Prime. It's a very, very nicely made docu-series. So it's about Salim Javed, the duo, and I think it also talks a lot about the history of cinema in the 1970s. तो उस एस्पेक्ट में आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी वेरी गुड वॉच.
Both are on my to-do list, so I'll hopefully
Yeah.
get to it soon. Pranav sir, what would you like to recommend?
I'd like to request viewers and readers that not to uh, accept all contents circulating on social media platforms. Use your mind. Whether just you ask yourself that is this possible? You just apply your brain. You are educated when you are surfing in, internet. Then I can expect that you have minimum education. So you just ask yourself that whatever is going and please show some respect to victims, even if she's not a rape victim, if she's attempted to rape victim, whatever, any victim, you should show some reasons. And I would like to recommend government to take some decision by applying their brains. At Arjikar Hospital, there was a room for retiring room for men doctors. Okay, but it should have been opposite. The retiring room should have been for the women doctors and the seminar room for the male doctors.
So
Okay,
there's
for
a
taking
separate
rest.
room for men. I mean, for them to rest.
Yes, with
Okay.
2 beds. Okay, but it should have been opposite.
Yeah.
Okay, a male doctor can take rest in a seminar room. Okay, fine, but there should have been a basic privacy for their women colleagues.
I can imagine being a reporter on ground. It must also get really frustrating to see the misinformation and you can't really go and tell everyone that, hey, this is the truth and, do not be irresponsible.
Exactly. Actually, there is still a set of like Aliza, me. We believe in a school of journalism. Okay, we don't go run after headlines. This will make my copy. We believe in credibility. We believe in that after 10 years, my news will stand correct. After 20 years, my article will stand correct. Okay. So, but nowadays, my brothers and sisters who are joining this profession, they are just running after headlines. How can I tell my
a lot of journalists, they focus on just breaking the story.
exactly?
They want the exclusive and they want their byline, so they're just very very focused on her. And then you sort of there's a possibility that you don't have all of the correct facts, and even if it is a couple of facts, but you've not gotten the time to verify it. And especially, I mean, this is a problem even we faced. When the case happened, we were in a dilemma कि कैसे ही report करे, because if we are not there physically, this is a case where somebody who is there already, they should report on it. The maximum that we can do is we can contact doctors and we can speak to professionals and experts and then figure out उसके around case में क्या हो रहा है, but or speak to the police, etc. But with a case like this, I think it's imperative that people who are on ground, they bring you the facts, and even if you have to wait a little longer to publish the report, but you just wait a little bit and then you bring out the report. But again, like even how Tanishka pointed out, when the misinformation goes out, the damage is already done.
Exactly.
Because it's gone viral, and even after you've debunked it, वो उसी स्केल पे वो नहीं होता है, क्योंकि आपके जो व्हाट्सएप फॉरवर्ड्स होने थे, जो एक फेक न्यूज फैलनी थी, वो फैल गई.
नहीं वो people will believe that ये कोर्ट में प्रूव नहीं कर पाया, वो जो अफवाह रटा, वो जो रूमर था वही सही था, ये कोर्ट में प्रूव नहीं कर पाया.
Because it's very easy to बहुत ही quickly लोगों को aggressive करवाना, outrage कराना. It's very easy. And as a human being, even if I objectively see it, अगर मैं एकदम से पढ़ लूंगी ऐसी कोई detail, I'll also be outraged. I'll be furious. I'll want to talk about it and rant about it. But I think it's become very difficult to navigate कि misinformation क्या है and क्या सही है नहीं, because people are also so quick to wanting to talk about it, wanting to amplify it. Especially when the whole protest happened, nationwide protest happened.
It should be a collective responsibility. It should be depends on the organization. If you are my boss, if I feed you immediate information, you will ask me, Pranab, please cross check it, double check it. Okay, once you give me 100% confirmation, then we'll air it. Right? No, this should be collective responsibility.
And this is also why, I mean, आप भी sir agree करोगे कि अगर हम उस मोमेंट पे वेरीफाई नहीं कर सकते हैं या इंडिपेंडेंटली वेरीफाई नहीं किया, दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई वी यूज रिपोर्टेडली और एलिजिडली. आप bare minimum आप कम से कम वो यूज करके you include it in your copy.
And I would like to recommend the News Minute has been doing a series on the HEMA committee report, which was released earlier this week. They've already put out, I think, close to 10 stories, and they plan to put out more. So this is a report that is 233-page document, which provides a damning indictment of the discrimination and exploitation faced by women in the Malayalam film industry. It is a big thing that this report has come out, and I hope this is followed by other industries as well. So I think the News Minutes subsection is a good place to get information about this report. That's my recommendation. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. This has been a very insightful conversation, and I'm sure our viewers will also have a lot to take home from this. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanishka. Thank you, Pranab sir.
It's been almost a year since Hamas's attack on October 7th, yet we have seen very little substantial news coverage of the war, especially from Indian media. So News Laundry has a new NL Sena, which will have Srinivasan Jain travel along with our team to report and bring out stories of public interest. Please help us bring you these stories. They are going to take a lot of time and resources, and we need your support to do these stories. Log on to newslaundry.com/Sena. Choose a contribution amount of your choice, and as always, pay to keep news free.
Journalism at News Laundry is powered by the public, because when the public pays, the public is served. Visit newslaundry.com/subscription and pick a payment plan of your choice. Pay to keep news free and independent. Your future, and indeed the future of democracy, depends on it.